Yep. Here we are, folks. We back again. Yep, back on the corner. Your Houston Texans went to Soldier Field today. And this game is so even that the only thing would have made it more even that it just stayed tied at 20, but it didn't happen like that. Your Texans, Houston Texans, fall 23-20. And we're gonna go to we're gonna go to the Joseph Himchek forensic, and I'm not gonna say it's a cadaver yet because it's just the first quarter of the season, but things are not looking good, and we're gonna do it. But before we get to it, I got my man all the way up from Gilmer, Texas. He's just sitting there waiting and grinning because he know we can ready to dig a hole in the ground. Last night, as they used to tell me, as I was a little child, and my grandparents have the hog in the killing trough and then fed it real well. And all of a sudden, you go get the wood, you dig a hole, and there's a big 55 barrel drum because we're going to slide this. But once we poke it, shoot it, and bleed it, we're going to roll this bad boy off into the barrel, and we're going to start skinning and start getting some pork chops and chitlins and everything else. But before we do that, let's get a word from our sponsor, and then we'll get back to the man. I don't know why. I think sometimes he ought to just stay in Vegas because I think he spent more time in Vegas than he does anywhere else.
Hello, I'm Ken Ross with the Ken Ross Insurance Agency. There are certain things that are important in our lives: our health, our safety, and our loved ones. With over 40 years of experience, I've seen just how important insurance can be. I value the importance of being a part of my community and being there when they need me. Insurance is important everywhere, but being here in South Texas, it is absolutely essential. From flood, home, auto, and life insurance, let the Ken Ross Agency be your agency of choice.
Yep, that's right, folks. Your Ken Ross Agency, 281-235-5957. And with Fiona out there in the Gulf, we thought we started stacking them for provision because we didn't know which way that hurricane was going to hit once it got into the Gulf. But without further ado, let's bring the man in from Gilmer. There he is, sitting there all back in his chair. Elwin, I mean, I'm glad you're looking relaxed, man, because I don't think anybody else are too relaxed after watching the Texans and the Bears today. That was a tough game to watch, and I'm just gonna be candid with you. It was a tough game to watch. Every time I think I'm starting to see some positive, it's like what, 3 steps up and 5 steps back. Mm-hmm. And only thing, nobody got hit with a targeting call today, but I'm still trying to hold hope out for Davis Mills. I think Pep is the right person to get this thing turned around. I'm just seeing a lot of tentativeness from Mills, and when he needs to set his feet. I mean, I saw Brady today against Tampa Bay without any receivers, and Brady would look like he was a little bit more successful. I mean, these guys, you got Cooks, you got tight ends, you got injuries are a part of the game, so you got to play through them, not making excuses. But I at one point there, I think I tweeted out, do they really trust Mills? Because it looked like they're taking a playbook and they are shrinking it down. And the more you shrink it down, the more you shrink your chances of winning or shrunk with it. Your initial comments, Elwin.
I couldn't agree with you more, AD. Here's the thing I was worried about to begin with. I think Davis Mills is a good quarterback. Is he a franchise quarterback? I'm sorry, but no, I don't think so. And I didn't think so from day one. But what really makes this even harder, with all the unfortunate situation with everything that happened with Deshaun Watson last year, he was thrown in and literally got what we always used to call a baptism by fire. He didn't have a chance to learn and have that tutelage that a rookie quarterback needs. I will say this for Davis Mills. I firmly believe the young man's given it everything that he's got. I also firmly believe he'll continue to get better. But he really needed a couple of years under his belt with somebody else that could coach him, could help him, who was a successful starter in the NFL, and he didn't have that. And I think that is still affecting him today. And of course, obviously, the big thing is that turnover in the red zone. You kill yourself when you do that. I don't care. I don't care even if you're Tom Brady. You kill yourself if you do that.
Yeah, without a doubt. Boy, the comments are starting to come in. Mudbone, I'm gonna go ahead and put this one up on the screen. Mudbone said we need a new QB. Well, I tell you what, Mudbone, you got what you got is what you have right now, and what's on the bench. I personally, it's not any better, and so
I don't think it's good.
Huh? What's that?
That's good.
No, I mean they're good for running a wildcat or doing some things or coming in or whatever the case might be. But as it stands right now, it's tough. It's tough looking at these guys, and particularly looking at him. But I tell you what, and I'm not gonna get into a whole bunch of statistics, but I'm gonna tell you this is how close this game was. This is how close these teams were today. Yards per play: Houston 5.8, Chicago 5.9. Total plays 57-62. I'm just looking at rush. Here's where the difference in the game came as far as I'm concerned, and here's where we get into it. Because I tell you what, Lovey, your defense is porous right now, and it's time to start making some changes. Rush yards, 24 attempts on the Texans, 3.8. The rush yards as far as the Bears was concerned, and this was going back to like 1985, 86. 40 carries, 7.7 yards a carry. Oh. And they had on rush yards attempts today, 241 yards rushing today. Ooh. And I'll tell you something, when you're churning up the real estate like that, you really protect. I mean, as far as Chicago and their young quarterback, he got protected.
Yep.
He got protected today because these guys weren't just average 7 every two carries as a first down. But these guys were just picking up real estate. I almost thought this was a Donald Trump sale, the way they was buying real estate, the way they were. That was my political joke for the day, man. But the way they were doing real estate, the way they were valuing real estate today, because they were churning. I mean, they was chewing up some yardage today. And the thing about it, I mean, you start getting guys stacked in the box, and Poe, kid couldn't, he couldn't buy a break today, but that's just the way it goes. And Davis Mills, it was a close contest, but and conversely to that, you look at it, and it was just like I'm trying to figure out, okay, who wants to win this game? But far as the Chicago Bears was concerned, they were going to sit up. Hey, we'll run up and down Soldier Field all day. If you don't stop us, I don't have to expose my quarterback. And for the most part, good thing they didn't, because if they could have made him throw the ball today, I think Petrie probably could have made. Petrie is on his way to making a defensive rookie of the year.
Absolutely.
I mean, this kid balled today. He flat out balled today. The Texans had 5 sacks today. Think about that. You got 5 takeaways, as Lovey called. 5 sacks. You had 2 takeaways. Petrie, and you're still having a tough time scoring points because you don't trust your trigger man. I'm not, and you don't have enough confidence in him, because I guarantee you, between Rex Burkhead and Dameon Pierce, Damon had a decent pedestrian day today, not an outstanding day. And I think everybody's loading up the box, because let's face it, nobody's scared of Mills. Nobody's scared of Mills. These guys will play press coverage on the Houston receivers up all day long, because the tight ends. we got all this tight ends. Everybody wanted a bunch of tight ends. We seen what tight ends can do. But the thing about it today, it's hit or miss, and hit or miss is not gonna make it, not in this league. And so, as it stands right now, the Houston Texans are 0 for September. Now, they are 2-1. I was sitting here, I was trying to be cute today, trying to figure out, okay, if they'd have went 1-1, did I have to go to the Farmer's Almanac to see what that numerical, a numerology? Did I have to go get a numerologist to figure out, okay, what does this mean in my dreams? And guess what? It's not a dream, it's a nightmare. And so far, we got a nightmare, and the Texans they're not showing up. They got the Chargers coming in next week, and they coming in a very foul mood because they got beat today. Mm-hmm. And so, you sort of wonder now. It looks like Bosa may or may not play because he's got a pull. I don't know how bad his hammy is, right. and I'm not wishing. I want to see the best meet when the price of those tickets that you got to go to a professional game, you want to see the best on the best. But right now, everybody was thinking the day was going to be probably that best game for the Texans to win. Well, it almost like it was going to be another 2020 tie. And I like what the Bears done today. They finally got the ball in position. They told, hey, leave the ball in the middle of the field, put it on the hash mark. We're not doing nothing else. And then with 3 seconds left, boom, there you go. Just kick the behind right out of there. Everybody, that's your ball game. Come on in. You got him, Elwin.
Well, I'll tell you what, AD. I'm just like you. I'm disappointed. But more than anything, I'm disappointed for Lovie Smith. He has given heart and soul. And let's face it, he came in with a short deck when he walked in here. I firmly believe these players believe in him and what he's doing. And, being from Gilmer, Texas, and Dandy Don Meredith with the purple and gold from Mount Vernon, Texas, I got thinking about this after the game this afternoon. And I thought, if they had won that first game that ended up in a tie, they probably would have won game 2. That would have given them a little more confidence. They definitely would have won today, which would have given them a little more. And that's what made me think of Dandy Don. And I think anybody that was ever around him knows, he kind of like me, he had a warped sense of humor. But he is known for the saying, if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. Yeah. And that's thinking about all those ifs. And just like Lovie has said the last 2 games, we're so close. We just got to learn how to close out. But I have an opinion about that. I don't think it's a matter of learning to close out. I think it's a matter of they're too young, don't have enough experience, and quite frankly, just short a little bit on talent. And I'm concerned that they may never be able to close out, which means they're going to have a decent lead going into the fourth quarter or into the last half of the fourth quarter to have any chance to win much. And that's sad and disappointing. And I know it's ripping at Lovie Smith's gut right now.
I'm sure it is. But the thing about it, and I think and this came up on Twitter earlier. The microscope has the light, the glare has got to be on Lovie now.
Oh yeah,
it's got to be on it because defensively today, when you saw the Bears, that wasn't Walter Payton running back there. This wasn't the Mike Ditka 85 Bears. No. But the way they went at the Texans today. But then the Texans, are there seeds of talent there? Yeah. Is there enough talent there? No. But the thing about it, let's face it, we can stack up, and looking at the games today, we can stack up a lot of things. We saw Brady struggle today with the receivers he had. But you know what? Can't make any excuses. The one thing about it, those Microsoft touchscreens didn't get thrown around today, by so that they saved a couple of touchscreens on that. But the thing about it, I'm looking at Mills and I keep thinking, okay, I'm waiting for the progression. I'm waiting for the light to go on. I'm waiting. You keep waiting for it, and I keep seeing the same things. Like I'm seeing them for. I saw him in the Colts game. I saw him in the Denver game, and I keep seeing. I keep seeing. Set your feet. Get back there. Set your feet, and go ahead and scan your field. Either he's scanning too fast or not fast enough. And for the most part today, I mean, yeah, the Bears put decent pressure on it, but nothing to the fact that we got receivers are not getting open, and I'm just not sure yet. And a lot of folks say, well, it's Pep play calling. Well, tell you what, I've seen Pep call plays in other places. Davis Mills, not Justin Herbert.
No, that's true. And another thing, AD, I think that we sometimes overlook. I think part of the inability to close out is something that's going through, and you see it play after play. Players aren't trusting their assignments. They're leaving their gaps open. They're leaving their assignments, and they're following their head and their mind and their feelings instead of what they've been taught by their position coaches. They're not staying with their assignments. And I think if they do that, things will improve dramatically.
Well, when you could be, because I watched the game today, and when you start getting gashed for 240 some yards, that means you're losing the battle up in the trenches.
Oh, you are. That's true.
I mean, today, that front seven, they got annihilated. And we've been every week we go back and we keep saying, well, your secondary, the safeties are the leading tacklers on the team, and we can sit there and say, yeah, but the thing about it, and you know what? If I'm those safeties, I don't know if I need to go put a different set of pads on, I don't even know if I need a neck roll or not, because after the day, particularly down in the trenches, they got rolled today. But the three technique, I'm not sure what was going on today. And let's face it, the Chicago Bears offensive line is nothing to write home about.
No, it's not. And there again, I think part of that, once again, is even where we're talking about in the trenches, some of those guys blew assignments or hit the wrong gaps. I mean, it was not that, in my mind and what I saw, it wasn't that Chicago was just blowing the Texans' defensive line off the line of scrimmage 4 or 5 yards every play. I think they just weren't holding their assignments or weren't sure, do I go left or do I go right? I think that's still part of the problem, is they don't trust either what they've been coached to do, or they can't remember in some cases what they've been coached to do assignment-wise.
I tell you what, hold that point. You got to get a quick break and we'll take it and we'll pick it up on the other side.
Hello, I'm Ken Ross with the Ken Ross Insurance Agency. There are certain things that are important in our lives: our health, our safety, and our loved ones. With over 40 years of experience, I've seen just how important insurance can be. I value the importance of being a part of my community and being there when they need me. Insurance is important everywhere, but being here in South Texas, it is absolutely essential. From flood, home, auto, and life insurance, let the Ken Ross Agency be your agency of choice.
Yep, that's right, folks. Ooh. Got a little feed. All right. Okay. Back this up. All right. Elwin, you disappeared?
No, I can still see you.
I don't see you though.
Really?
Yeah.
It still shows I'm here.
Yeah. Okay. It looks like you starting Halloween. You're sitting in the dark.
Uh-oh. Well, I got my light on, and there's plenty of light in the room.
Well, anyway, we'll move on. I'm getting feedback in my ear, and so I'm gonna hot this down. Okay, there we go. All right, still can't see you. Figure out what happened to you.
You want me to hop out and hop back in?
Yeah, why don't you do that?
All right.
Hop out and come back in.
All right.
And while Elwin had a little technical difficulties, yep, for whatever the reason, went to that break and we came back. And and while we at it, folks, while Elwin is just dropping out, let me thank folks talking sports, Chris Gardner, Andy Yanez, Willie Gibson, and all. Yep, there he is. You're back.
All right.
Yeah, you're back. I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah.
It was the lead in on Houston Roundball YouTube. And if you haven't already, subscribe to both of the channels. We're on both of the channels, the Houston Roundball YouTube channel and also the ADMAX Corner YouTube channel. If you haven't, please subscribe to both of them. Chris got to jump on it, but he's worked hard to get it. And so in taking that into consideration, go ahead and let's pump the numbers up. But we need it. Please subscribe for both of them. And as I remembered earlier, let me go ahead and do 281-235-5957. That's the Ken Ross Agency. Be prepared. If you don't have any insurance, give him a call. I'm pretty sure he can work with you. I saw you. What were you doing in Longview? I was on other night. I looked up and I'm going like, where the hell are you in Longview? Was somebody giving a free meal out in Longview or what?
Well, almost, AD. Gilmer was open last week. And one of my buddies that I drive with for the two car dealerships here in Gilmer, and I went over to the game because a young lady, well, she's not that young anymore either, but who was a good friend of my sister's when my dad was pastoring a little Baptist church near Longview. I was in 8th grade. She and my sister were in 2nd grade. She had a post on Facebook. She and her dad always went to every Longview Lobo football game. And her dad got to see him win the state championship in 2018. Then he died right before COVID hit. And so she's been watching since all the streaming started when COVID hit. In her massage chair, relaxing in her recliner, she said, in the games, and she had a post on about 3 o'clock Friday afternoon and said, I've got mine and my dad's 2 tickets available. The first person that contacts me, I'll give them to you free. They're halfway up. And it's only one level in Longview, just like it is in most high school stadiums in East Texas, halfway up on the 50-yard line. So I contacted her, and she said, they're yours. So we got to see Class 5A Division I number 1 team Longview play Class 5A number 8 team Lancaster in what was an awesomely fantastic football game. Longview was behind 7-0. The game was tied 7-7. They were behind 13-7. They went up 14-13 early part of the 4th quarter, and it stayed that way until 59 seconds left in the game. And Longview added an insurance touchdown and ended up winning 23-14. So even though we missed our beloved Gilmer Buckeyes, it was a fantastic game.
Well, I mean, okay. Well, hey, I'm glad. Like I said, I looked up and saw you. I'm going like, wait a minute, that's not Gilmer. I'm going like, hey, I guess the biggest difference in because what Gilmer is 3A?
We're 4A.
4A, okay. Well, that's not that big of a difference between 4A and 5A. Only a couple of thousand, and in the stadium and so forth. But anyway, I was sitting up there going like, boy, he won't miss a meal for nothing. But anyway,
I had to buy my food at the concession stand and spent $16. I wasn't in the press box.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, hey, you know what? The students and the fan, the alumni and everything appreciate it. Mudbone got another comment now, and he thought, and you know what? For the most part, I think he's pretty well right, because Mills did stay up pretty well. I think Mills only had 1 sack, but Mudbone here had a comment that the O-line actually played good today. Yeah, and they're right. But the thing about it, it's in spurts, and there's no consistency. I think this is the whole thing, the consistency level. And here's where I think I'm going to start putting a critical after the day. The linebacking play. I think I'm not sure if they're getting caught up too much in there, or is the front four getting pushed back into them, and they're not being able to get up in the hole, or they're getting reading the keys wrong. But today, I just saw a lot of too much misreads, and missed tackles, and we said this is all right. We said you and I both mentioned this, and I mentioned this repeatedly on the show, that we weren't going to start seeing quality NFL football till the end of this month or the first thing. Third game. Here's the third game. Now, I know a bunch of folks probably getting ready to start cussing and everything else, and they probably saying Texas ain't giving us no kind of quality football. Yeah, that's true. They have not won. But the thing with the consistency of it, because I know last week I was high on Kenyon Green. I thought he had a good game last week. Kind of go back and look at some things again, what was done today, because Damian Pierce scored. He had a decent pedestrian day, 80-some yards passing. For the most part, Mudbone, I think you're right. I think they played, the O-line played decent today. But the thing, we still got to clean up some stuff. We still got, and be quite candid with you, I think Quisenberry, and I'm gonna go ahead and say this now, whether Britt comes back or not, and I think there's some personal issues going on with Britt. But I think with Quisenberry in there now, I think there's some things that's probably going to – let's leave him in there and see what's going to happen. That's just my opinion right now. And I'm not the O-line coach. I'm not in there grading them. But you know what? We need to put a 5 in there, and let's see it. Let's let these guys play, man, because this changing, going back and forth, in and out, the consistency on the O-line, you need to have the same consistent people there. And that's what I think is missing. And I think and Mills just need to set his doggone feet. I want to say another thing, but you reminded me I said something wrong the other time. I don't recall it, but I'm trying. Oh, this is a family-oriented show, and we are going to try to lead by example, and we are going to just go gosh darn it and all the other stuff. Maybe after 12 o'clock, I might go blow something else.
A gummit or two.
Yeah, but and as we get ready to wrap it up and move down, I can't give any game balls out today. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I can't. I mean, last week, you start seeing different things. No game balls today because particularly on this defense, because this is the defense I thought is going to be the glue, is going to be the thing that hold this team together, and they got gashed for too much today. Well, Justin Fields, I mean, he could have thrown, if he could have thrown a couple more interceptions, maybe the defense probably could have scored one. That's probably all we needed for him to throw another one, because as it stands right now, we got to get more consistency. And so we'll see with the Los Angeles Chargers coming in, and with their situation. Elwin, I guess I'll be seeing you next week, unless the Lord willing or something else. We should be seeing you next week.
Yes, as to looking forward to it. And I will tell you, and you may want to call me an old softy, but
I might call you a few other things too.
Yeah, me and you aren't family oriented, are we? When we get together in that press box, we tell it like it is. But I'm going to tell you what, call me a softy if you want to. But I think I would, if I was handing them out, I would give Petrie a game ball. Yeah,
without a doubt. Okay, I'll back up. I mean, because let's face it, between the safeties and everything, because now Petrie blew up some game. Jerry Hughes today had 2 sacks. I mean, if you go back and look at it, we got to be honest. We are at the Joseph Shimchek Forensic School, so the pathology. The cadaver is not really dead. There's still some life in it, and folks want to see this team win you want to see them make progress, and every time you think you've made progress, it's just so doggone it's distressing.
And AD, I'll be honest, I love Lovie Smith because of watching him in high school Like I think I said once before on the show, I'm a year older than him. I watched him in his playoff games in Big Sandy High School. So I've known Lovey from way, 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 way back. But besides that, I love the Texans. I want to see the Texans win. But dadgummit, I want them to win the AFC South and me to win that $2,500.
Oh, this is personal with you.
Personal thing now.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot you did go over to
Report.
yes, Freeport and dropped a few nuggets down, dropped a few coins down.
I dropped $100 on it.
Well, okay, you put a Benjamin down.
Yeah.
You didn't make you want to make it rain a lot more, but you just being conservative right now. I understand. Hey, tell you what, as we wrap this up, closing comments from you, and I know I'll be running into you next week up at NRG. Closing comments from you.
Well, I'll just simply say the Chargers thus far are not what they were expected to be either. Remember, they're just sitting there 1-2. They're not knocking people's heads off. Yeah, they're going to be really upset. But the one thing I have seen consistently in these first 3 weeks, the Texans can play good football the most part of the game. I say good football, enough to keep themselves in the game, the better part of the game. I don't think this is going to be a Chargers blowout next week. I think it's going to be a very similar game to what we've seen the first 3 games. The question is, can they plug in the right spots and fill in the holes and find a way to close it out in this one? If they can, they've salvaged something out of the first quarter almost of the season. If they can't, then they're going to start having doubts in their minds, and that's unfortunately when it starts getting even worse.
Well, you know what? You're right. And knowing the coaches, I know Love is sitting there, and tomorrow he's going to come in, and I know the word all this week. We got to finish. We got to finish. We got to finish. We got to finish. In order to finish, you need to start. In order to start, you need to get down there. In order to get to the finish line, you got to run through the tape. That's what they tell you in track. Don't stop at the finish line. You got to run through the tape.
Yep.
And somewhere in between, whether they running the 54, the 400 meter, the 800 meter, whatever they run, it's a marathon. And right now, things are they got a piano on their back and a couple of big safes on their back. But we'll see. Hey man, appreciate it. I'll catch you next week. We'll be talking to you later on. Have a good one here.
Hey, D, have a great week, buddy.
All right, you too now. All right, folks, as we get ready to wrap this puppy up. It's not fun. It's easy to talk when you're winning. It's easier to add and talk about good things. Yeah, Petrie today, and I mentioned he was balling today. Jerry Hughes had some good things, but when you get gashed for 240 some yards rushing, that whole front seven is called into question. 5 sacks today, and all to naught. I mean, statistically, they're going to look good for the individual players, and when you start adding them up. But at the end of the day, your Texans still lost. So as Elwin mentioned, we're getting into the first quarter of the season. 0-2-1. Did we expect it? I felt like somewhere in there will probably be 1-1, 2-1, whatever the case might be, but we're not. So, but as they say, the record says you are what your record say that you are. You have not won a game. You can say be close, but you know what? Folks are getting tired of being this in horseshoes, and you don't get paid. You don't get brownie points for just being close. You need to win. So, without further ado, don't forget, if you have not subscribe to the ADMAX Corner on YouTube. Go out there and just hit the subscribe button. And if you're listening to me on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel, hit the subscription button over there. We need to pump up everything, folks. We don't mind working, and if you're out there on Facebook, go back to, and if you're watching me on Facebook, just jump on over to the YouTube channel and just hit the subscribe button. And that way, when you're trying to figure out when I'm gonna be on, obviously it's gonna be the recap. And I'm not sure if we'll see what game, what time. I think it's a noon game, a noon kick next week. So we'll probably be back at the same time. Yeah, probably be at the same time next week, same time, same bat channel. Folks, be careful out there. If you haven't gotten the Omicron variant shot, go get it. Those of you that just want to protect yourselves, go ahead and get out there and get it. without further ado, this is your man, Adolphus A.D. Moore. Ciao, peace, and I'm out, and we are done.